Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's album review time as the iconic extreme experimental death metal lineup of Job for a Cowboy have had some long-awaited unfinished business. After nearly 9 long years of silence, they have awoken from their slumber, forging Moon Healer, the follow-up to their previous landmark album, Sun Eater. The new album will be released on February 23rd, 2024 via Metal Blade Records. Now, do you remember the first time you heard Job for a Cowboy's brand of extreme metal? Do you remember your first thoughts? And do you remember if you were wowed by their experimental abilities? I ask this because I certainly was. So much so that I fell head over heels for this band and pretty much drank in everything they had to offer, namely 2007's Genesis and 2009's Ruination. Then, I'm going to be honest here, at some point, they just kind of dropped off my radar. You know how that goes sometimes. I didn't notice 2012's Demonocracy. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. And while I have a lot of love for 2014's Sun Eater, I kind of came back to them, it didn't leave as big a mark as their first 2 albums did. So, when they effectively disappeared and went quiet for these 9 years, I didn't really notice. I guess if someone had said to me, oh yeah, do you remember Job for a Cowboy? I'd been like, oh yeah, they split a few, ages ago and so on. That's about as much knowledge as I had. In fact, in the time that this website and channel, the GBHBL brand, has existed, Job for a Cowboy haven't put out anything new. Until now, that is. Spark up the nostalgia machine. At least from my perspective, it's time to enjoy Job for a Cowboy again. And that is the optimal word, because this is an easy album to enjoy, provided you like your metal delivered with all the force of a group of rampaging. Though I do want to clear something up straight away. This is not just a Job for a Cowboy nostalgia run. I don't think the band would have bothered if they didn't have anything fresh to bring to the table, especially as 9 years is a very long time in music and the metal world has been constantly moving forward. So it is delightful to find Job for a Cowboy stepping up in so many areas to tower above many a pretender of the technical and progressive death metal sound. If you're hoping this album is as challenging as it is savage, you're in luck, because Moon Healer is undeniably this and so much more. Featuring 8 tracks, Moon Healer has absolutely no filler and no dull moments. From the start, there's a corrosive heaviness that sears itself into the brain matter, but there's also a sharpness that slices pieces of the soul off. Well, beyond the chemical doorway, etched in oblivion and grinding wheels of Oppenanium, Job for a Cowboy showcased their 2024 sound in impressive fashion. As fast and as heavy as things are, I implore you to really listen, because the detail is where I think this matters. Just listen to the bass as one example of how every instrument shines here, and that's before the ferocious vocals are considered. Trust me, there is no ignoring the Johnny Davey delivery here. He sounds like an absolute beast. Though if there's one really surprising thing about the album as a whole, is that there are anthemic aspects. Now, don't get me wrong. You're not going to be singing along to choruses or enjoying melodic twists, but you might find it's got more groove in places than expected. It's just another element of this album that makes it such an enjoyable listen. So what else do we have? How about the absolute riffmonger like the sun that gave me ashes, so I sought out the moon? Or the expressive nightmarishness of Into the Crystalline Crypts? I know I've said it before, but it needs to be said again. The bass playing on this album is out of the world. Nick Schendelizius is an absolute genius and exceptionally talented, and I reckon I've just butchered his last name there, so apologies for that. I have spoken to Nick in an interview. Great interview, great guy to talk to, and his bass playing is immense here. Though he is just one part of a refreshed and re-energized Job for a Cowboy, and they continue to impress as this album heads into its latter portion. First, we have the darker complexities of a sorrow-filled moon. Then we have the absolutely manic sound of the agony seeping storm. As compelling as everything that came before, and then some. Can it get any better? Well, it can certainly get more experimental as the Forever Rot ends the album in hearty and heavy fashion, except this also might be the most elaborate track of all, from the perspective of differing Job for a Cowboy elements. I hope I've expressed it here, I think I have, and I think you'll understand this when you hear it, but Job for a Cowboy are back. And they're back kicking all kinds of ass. This is a really, really strong return. It's a really important return. It's a continuation, but also forward thinking, while also having nostalgic look backs to what we know is the Job for a Cowboy sound. These days, they sit way more comfortably in the world with their extreme technicalities and progressive sensibilities than they did when they first turned up. So this is going to go down very, very well, not just within that camp, but I think within the metal camp as a whole. It is Moon Healer. It is out on February 23rd, 2024 via Metal Blade Records. You got any thoughts on it? Share them with me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.